Our many thanks goes to Joseph Yap. He's the one who speaker for this event. So thanks for accepting our invitation, and I believe this will be a fruitful session for all of us, and enjoy. Thank you.
We're about to start.
Welcome to Nur Sultan.
Now, to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Joseph Yap. Mr. Yap is a senior expert and information literacy coordinator from Nazarbayev University Library in Kazakhstan.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon from Kazakhstan.
First, I hope everybody's doing great despite pandemic. Thank you, Hasith, for coordinating everything to Sri Lanka Technological Campus and, of course, the Department of Library and Information Science of University of Kelaniya, Dr. Namali Sorawira, for having this session. It won't be possible also without professional networking, and let me say thanks to Raypun for linking me to Hasith. Also, currently in our university, we are still working from home, and all our library programs, our services are provided remotely online. So I hope everybody's excited.
Here, what's marketing? Literally, when we go to market, we plan ahead of time, and sometimes we list what we need. But library marketing deals with how we can support the initiatives of our organization. Thus, we are thinking how to grow our engagement and involve our users as well.
So I have the following objectives. Okay, so as librarians, we have our duty to ensure that services and programs reach those who need them without discrimination. So during a lockdown because of pandemic, libraries are physically closed and other libraries are now reopening, and it's a good sign that the new normal has come. But we need to review our policies and guidelines, thus our marketing plan. So our services continue online. So the aims of the presentations are the following: to recognize the need for policy, guidelines, or marketing plan improvement aligned with online library services and programs in time of pandemic, to develop or strengthen marketing initiatives, to avoid discontinuance of library services, and share current practices in promoting library programs, services, initiatives during pandemic and infodemic. So, what is library marketing? According to IFLA section on management and marketing, it is a process of planning and executing the whole parts of concepting or conception, pricing, promotion, and distribution of goods, services, programs to create exchanges between individual and organization goals to meet their satisfaction. So the purpose of marketing is to achieve organizational objectives, to fulfill the target market's needs. And those are our customers, our patrons in the library. So library marketing is something that we do, but probably we are not aware of, or the process is incomplete. So, if this is my question, is this library marketing? So probably at first glance, you may say yes. So, but this is more of a promotion. So communication is the key, how you inform the users about it. So your services are online now, so you communicate through social media. So this is a kind of promotion. So an example would be a campaign as well. So like, for example, one of the deans in North Carolina School of Library, Irene Owen, said that marketing is always misunderstood by librarians as a means to just providing promotion or public relations, which is promotion and public relations is just one aspect of library marketing, because we're talking also about the product, the price, the place, and other things. So public relations is just a subset of promotion. Now, Wingand, who is also a professor of library and information science, said that there are 4 P's of marketing. And the 4 P's of marketing are the following: the product, the price, the place, and promotion.
So actually, she created, or she's an author of one of the books entitled Customer Service Excellence. So you can buy it through American Library Association. Let's discuss one by one. First is the product. These are the programs and services that the library provides to its users. So let's say you have your interlibrary loan, your document delivery, or you have your book delivery service, or other programs such as information literacy program, outreach programs, and any other programs. Second one is the price. You have to put a cost or the fees to any kind of program that you have. So when you produce a product, it has some budget. We need to think about how much do we need for each service or program. The next one is the place, the location where products are distributed, meaning how do we distribute material? So let's say if we are in the counter of a library, then we are distributing it in the physical space of the counter or other spaces in the library. But right now, because it's pandemic and we are staying from home, then we can distribute it online. Next, and the last part of the P is a promotion, which is who are your target users and how you can communicate it to them. So how the library communicate depends on kinds of methods you want. So you have to identify these target users so that you can segment each kind of service you want to develop and provide it to each kind of user. Let's say you want to distribute or create some kind of things like, let's say, business card. Business card is one kind of promotion tool to your users as well, so that they would get to know who are the librarians on campus. Now, speaking of promotion, but I don't know if how many people are now online. So I was asking, I would like to ask them something like, can we make this trending topic on promotion that we are promoting library marketing? So if they can just promote hashtag library marketing 2020 and they add a text or a photo in all their social media accounts, let's say Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or whatever. So aside from the 4 Ps by Wingand, Iwo James, Halizo, and Ifijay added 3 more Ps to the 4 Ps. And the 5th P is the physical evidence. But right now, because it's pandemic, we can actually recreate physical evidence to virtual library evidence. So if we're talking about physical library space, we're talking about how environment friendly are the spaces. Do we even check aesthetics of the library? Let's say how do we look into the layout of the library, the furnishings, the ambience, so on and so forth. But right now, because it's a virtual library, we need to talk about accessibility issues. Do we even provide a space online where each of the services can be transferred or communicated into text-to-speech or voice recognition, or we are providing subtitles, something like that. The next P is process. Now, this is very important because we need to talk about now policies and procedures or the flow of activities. We need to provide prompt and efficient immediate service response now. When coronavirus came, then we are all surprised. So we need to make sure that we need to be swift and act immediately on what to do next. And we have to revise and review our policies and procedures, the whole process again. And the last one are the people, us, the experts. How do we provide excellent service? It's not enough that we are experts, but we cannot provide excellent service. So those are 2 different things. Let's say you are an expert in one field, but the way you provide the service is not good. So it's saying that when there's a good result, people will be happy, and happiness will encourage everyone to go back to your library and talk to you again and ask for your help. So let's say one of my example would be, yes, a professor just tagged me on Facebook asking me, can you order this? And I said, yes, it's ordered now. Even if it's social media, it's not formal, it's an informal way, but still it can just tag you anywhere and you just provide your service. Just record it that some transaction happened even in social media accounts. Now, there is a marketing cycle. As what Dempsey said, Dempsey is also an expert in library marketing. So she provided or shared the cycle of true marketing. So as we can see here, first is to research your audience, right? So if you research your audience here, what she meant by this is you want to know who your patrons are. Who are these people that you want to serve? So it's the first great step to identify target market. So get some data about them, know the demographics. How many of the students are using different kinds of social media? Let's say in Kazakhstan, they have a different kind of social media, which is not Facebook. Let's say VK. How many are using it? And you get to know the trends now. So determine also, let's say, faculty members living on campus. So get to know their religious practices and maybe buy ebooks related to it. So, or how about those non-users? Identify and know why they don't go to the library or use the library at all. Segmentation is the next part of it. So you have to make sure you know your target group. You have to recognize that you have a very diverse population. Let's say, so on the whole semester, you have a very novice freshman student who doesn't know how to use library databases. You have a newly hired teacher, let's say. You have an experienced senior scientist or a teaching fellow, or perhaps children of faculty members living on campus. So what to do? You have to know their needs. So in our case, we have Russian-speaking citizens, Kazakh-speaking, English-speaking. So you need to know what language do they use as well. Next is to set goals and targets. So this element talks about measuring our goals. It can be quantitative, it can be qualitative. So let's say that you want to increase the number of views of usage. So how are you going to do that? Let's say you want to know undergraduate students if they use a specific service, or you want to know how many engagements do you get each week in posting something in your social media account. So know your goals and set your targets. Next is identify products and services. So list down again all your programs, enumerate them. You don't realize that because of a lot of programs or services that you offer, there are items there that are not being used at all. So you have to evaluate them, which is actually the next step also. Let's say there is one faculty who would approach you and say, can you offer me this service? But you know that this service is already available. So what you need to do is just to remind them, oh, we have this service already, maybe you're not aware. So just repeat it as needed. And if there are other possibilities to create a new service, then start thinking about it, right? Also, build a connection. Let's say there is a new set of officers of the student council or student organizations, or join teaching and learning committees, or join the council of dean meetings. What I do, if there is a new set of officers for student council, I congratulate them, and then I tell them that these are the services of the library you might want to include in your next plan as well, for some activities in collaboration with the library. And then identify your competition. So you establish connections already. So you will also learn what they're doing. So you may be surprised that other departments in the university are also doing the same thing. For example, in our case, we have the Writing Center, and the Writing Center also conducts plagiarism sessions. Same with academic tours. So let's say call a meeting and invite them. Share common things and discuss what steps to do next. Maybe they can focus on something else and the library can focus on something else. And also, so there, we are trying to protect the image of the library. So going back to that competition, how can the library ensure its relevance now, right? So by building partnerships, then we are getting stronger. We are making sure that patrons know where to go in times of their information need. So sometimes we are just, maybe students are lazy to check, giving you all the sets of questions, but you can tell them in such a nice way that there is, maybe you forgot to do this kind of method while searching, right? So you need to explain it again. And use your available resources, and make sure, because you are the library, be as authoritative as possible. Finally, success. So evaluate your success. So each time you create or plan a service, make sure part of it is to evaluate it. Let's say add a comment box. You are creating a LibGuide and there's a comment box. Is this guide good enough for you? Or send us an email what you think about this, right? So each time you finish conducting a session, so ask a survey form, create via Qualtrics or Google Forms, whatever, and send it to them. Just ask for their feedback. So it might be helpful for them as well. And for you to know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what services you need to improve, something like that. And also now we go to the marketing plan. But before we proceed writing your marketing plan, you have to make sure that you review your library mission statement one more time. And there are prerequisites to that. Do you know by heart what the parents' organization strategic plan? So before you set that one, you have to know and review the institution's organization or strategic plan of the institution. You have to know the whole library strategic plan before you create your marketing plan. And you have to, again, review the 7 Ps, right? The product, the price, place, promotion, physical evidence, process, and people. Now, there are steps to basic marketing plan. And first is the target market. So again, let's say we focus on faculty members, right? Write your plan specifically for faculty members and write a specific or another plan for students, for staff, for researchers, something like that. And services, mention that you are experts. You are experts in doing literature search and literature review, something like that. And while you know already the competition, know why your users prefer to go to other places rather than going to the library. Why they attend other sessions of other university departments rather than going. So find and explore and know the reasons why. And finally, I know, fourth is promotion. So try to speak and learn their language. Make a catchy poster. What's new now? Maybe create a poster that has some thematic, maybe feel of Netflix, the Netflix vibe or whatever. So you have to also find people who are creative. It's not enough that in a marketing group, there's only 1 or 2 people. You have to have a team that can create all this good stuff for you. And finally, evaluate, which is to know how your programs and services did well. If not, try another kind of program, let's say, because there are failed programs too. And we have to recognize that. Now, let's say you completed that cycle and now you're on your way to write your marketing plan. You have to execute your plan accordingly. And there are these steps which you will really need to do, because the first phase is consolidating and then writing them. And the next part of it is to really do that one. So it's the whole marketing cycle. Let's say, for example, you have to revisit your past library marketing plans. This is an example online which you can check later on. It's the Galway Mayo Institute of Technology, and the marketing plan is available online. This may be old, 2009 to 2012, but it may be useful for you. Let's check their example. So one of their objectives is to increase the database usage by 10%. So their target market are the undergraduate students. Forget about the graduate students. As mentioned, you have to create another plan for them. So what are the strategies? First, they continue promotion of electronic. We do that most of the time, continuing promotion, right? Now, what they want to achieve is that for June of that year, they have to make sure that they have ready statistics to evaluate what happened, right? And offer training sessions that will make sure that they will really use it. So this is just one objective specifically for undergraduate students. Now, next. Okay. Oh, it's hanging. Okay, now, this is for example, in our university now, the situation made us realize that we need to act immediately because you don't know it's coming, but you heard news already globally. So they called the help of IT departments and library and sit down and consult us. How are we going to make sure information is accessible to users? Now you have to make sure because physical library will be closed. So what to do next? So make sure ebooks are there already. So instead of buying, as we can buy still print materials, but we have to ensure that we can also buy the equivalent of that title in ebook format, right? So that research can still be done remotely, that some softwares can still be accessible remotely. So this is the challenge for libraries and IT departments. So, and you have to ask yourself, how can these things help us in the future? It's a good marketing. They call the library because they believe that you can provide, and it's your support to the whole university. So it's a good promotion in the future, and it also means that they are investing for the welfare of the library and the users of the library as well. So another example would be, because we are turning into virtual, so our information literacy programs to incoming first-year students, and the new normal would be like this. So you have to recreate now your marketing plan. So how do you do that? So the objective is to make sure IELTS skills of the first-year students to develop. And how are you going to do that? continue collaborating with faculty members. We have to make sure our LibGuides are revised accordingly and add more details as much as possible. And we converted our presentations now, our modules, in audio recorded. So it may be synchronous or asynchronous, and constant promotion of webinars and customized virtual sessions. So we have to do this by the whole fall semester. And our outcome would be like, we need to assess again information literacy. We have a survey form after each session, and we ask students about their feedback. The number of LibGuide views, maybe because we're recreating them again and adding some LibGuides, and number of webinars conducted, because we also measure them, how many we did and how was it. So don't think about your competitors now, just focus on the library, right? And make sure that you are focused on making sure that the institutional agenda is there. So you have to think and look back what should be done. So next would be here, how do we help our community remotely? So we prepared this LibGuide, like how to access our e-journals, how to access e-textbooks, because this LibGuide is visible online and is valuable for them. It's available 24/7. FAQs were created. So even if librarians are offline, they can still refer to these guides if they're online, as long as they have internet connection, of course, because it's another challenge and it's another problem. Also, of course, they can just connect with us anytime. Of course, our chat services can only be during office hours still. We are working from home, but we answer them. They can set an appointment if they want to. So this is now the virtual place, right? And the next one example will be an example of our synchronous way of teaching our students. So we are still being invited by different classes to conduct information literacy sources. So that's just an example that we are still conducting information literacy courses online. And also we have these recorded slides that we are now preparing for the courses. So this is just an example. So I'll just go to the next slide. The next slide would be, let's define now, because we're talking about pandemic and infodemic, right? And part of the marketing plan. So let's just discuss briefly what infodemic is, because we know pandemic is a worldwide spread of a new disease according to WHO. So now there is a rapid spread of false information that may include rumors, gossip, and we are a library. How can we help our users not to be involved and not sharing this false information? So that's infodemic, right? And it will affect even the way they do research. Now that we are off tangent with them, we are just doing online. And because of virtual classes, online classes, there is an increasing number of plagiarism too. And we have to make sure that they are not doing that. So that's infodemic for now. If you want to learn more about infodemic, there is another webinar about this, which I can share later, which was conducted before. But let's say even you are not a medical library or a health library, you can still provide and think about the questions. Let's say this example was done previously study on H1N1 or maybe SARS. Right now it's pandemic. You have to think also of what questions they can ask. And these questions may be relevant to their studies too. Let's say somebody is doing a policy on how to ensure that the next wave of coronavirus will come, how to do that. So it will also affect libraries, and let's make sure we are ready to answer them and provide them possible links and not only focus on our other services. This is an example. Let's say you want to curtail infodemic, right? As part of our library initiative, we compiled a list of reliable sources of help. Better if it's localized. So give global links to WHO, CDC, but also compile examples or credible sources that are available locally, which students or local students can understand. Let's say now that we are aware that Vietnam is still being applauded for their 0 case of death for coronavirus. So the data I'm using is from last May 26, and they are still focusing on measures to ensure no one will fall for the virus. So I'm giving now examples of how libraries should adapt. I'm still promoting their services indirectly just to come to the library. Let's say this one is the Haming University of Science and Technology. in Hanoi in Vietnam encourages their students to come to the library, even though coronavirus is not, I mean, the cases of coronavirus is still small in Vietnam, but they want to encourage students to come because they are providing strict measures on how not to contract the virus. So it's one way of promoting their library. Still, they provide resources on how to control this virus. Next is like reach out. Yeah, that's a way of reaching out. So a while ago, I provided a LibGuide. Also create your own FAQs. So setting aside marketing plan, emergency situations require immediate responses, right? So again, FAQs may be 24/7. Without real-time librarian, you can answer, but they can refer to this FAQ. Again, a lot of examples from the British Library. Everybody's active now and visible. They said libraries are dead. Like, so one of the initiatives of British Library is to tell traveling stories or curate a map of collection, just like their library, and they upload it online. How about NTU Library? They still provide online sessions on how to use EndNote. Also, this Chinese University of Hong Kong Library is giving a service on just, if you want to communicate with us, what's up a librarian? So that's it. Also, online storytelling for children, for school libraries. Parents may be busy, so probably you can just let your children go online and give the link to some online libraries that conduct online storytelling, something like that. And also in our library, we still continue to communicate with our users by promoting different kinds of activities. Due to pandemic, we are also uploading stress relief examples. Let's say we upload relaxing music episodes, how to deal with time management during pandemic. We partnered with our psychological counseling center, so we can offer webinars to support students encountering depression and stress. Also, we can make use of our YouTube accounts. This is the time, like let's say we finished one webinar and we compile them and upload them as part of the playlist in our YouTube accounts. Right? So again, so finally, just to summarize, marketing has its own benefits for the library. So first is to achieve customer satisfaction, because in the long run, patrons will remember what we did for them, right? If they're happy, we will remember. And it's a long-term customer relations. We establish that one. And once they know that you provide a good service, they will always come to you. Have the opportunity to introduce new information products, because as a library, you have to be creative as well. Like for example, the Library of Congress invited this youth ambassador who is an award-winning author and talk to students, talk to children about how to fight negative impact young people. Also increase the customer base of the library. We have to make sure that there is an optimal utilization of library products and services. We don't want to create something that nobody will use, right? So we encourage them, we strongly encourage them.
Here are my references, and if you have questions, you can always email me. This is my email address. And again, thank you again to SLTC and University of Kelaniya, Department of Library and Information Science. Thank you so much.